Bitcoin is worthless. It's going to get hacked. It's a tulip bubble. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's beanie babies, and governments are going to ban it. First of all, why would governments bother to ban it if it was just beanie babies or tulips? But anyways, that point aside, people are entitled to have any one of these opinions. I see them online all the time. The only problem there is people just reflexively say these things because they saw it in a headline once, or they heard someone else say it. They're just repeating it. They don't even know what it means or why they're saying it. It's very hard for me to fathom that any of the people who say that have spent any time actually looking into Bitcoin. Maybe there's a Dunning-Kruger effect moment there where they look into it for like 20 minutes and then they're like, oh yeah, it's confirmation bias. It's definitely tulips, which is an insane analogy because the tulip bubble, the story of the tulip bubble is not even actually true. It's apocryphal the way most people think of it. That was 400 years ago, and you have this bubble where the tulips became worth way too much money over some short period of time, and then it popped. So to look at the Bitcoin chart and see up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, but over a long period of time, up over 15 years, clearly not the same as a tulip bubble that just went up once and popped forever. Anyways, so my point being, these people haven't studied Bitcoin at all. So if you're somebody who has studied it a little bit, and you say, hey, this might be the greatest savings technology ever invented in human history, it might be worth looking into as something that can preserve your wealth, grow your wealth, be a chance at hope and prosperity for your future. If there's any non-zero chance that that's true, wouldn't it be worth taking just a little extra second to look into it? And yeah, people should be skeptical. They should think, oh, it sounds too good to be true, or like, what's the difference between all these other altcoins? You should think all those things. Skepticism is good. One of the mottos in Bitcoin is don't trust, verify. In other words, don't just trust what I have to say about it, do your own research. But if it's potentially true that this is the greatest savings technology, the greatest investment opportunity in the history of humankind, or at least in your life, wouldn't it be worth just taking that extra second instead of just being like, oh, that sounds like tulips, that's beanie babies, the government's going to ban it. Again, if it were just a beanie babies, why would the government bother banning it? So point being, if there's any chance that any of that's true, wouldn't it be worth taking a deeper look? And yeah, your first reaction should be like, sounds like a scam, sounds too good to be true, let me take a deeper look into this. But in my experience, the deeper you keep looking, the more you do find answer to those questions, and you go, oh, my first initial reaction wasn't right. Oh, it's probably not the tulip bubble. Oh, it's probably not beanie babies. Oh, there's reasons why the government can't ban it. There's reasons why these arguments don't make sense. But people who put those arguments out there just want a one-sentence dismissal and move on. The question to them should be, or they say it's gambling or it's just speculation, as if that's a way to just dismiss. Or I just said, what if this were the greatest savings technology or investment opportunity in your lifetime? Oh, that's just speculation. Well, first of all, any form of investing is some degree of speculation. No one knows what the future holds. But if there's a non-zero chance that what I said is true, aren't you taking a gamble by not looking into it, by not finding out more, by not putting a little bit of money into this thing and finding out, or a little bit of time into this thing and finding out more? These little one-sentence dismissal arguments you see all the time, they just don't make sense for those fundamental reasons that these people haven't looked into it at all to understand why what they're saying makes no sense. And B, even if you wanted to dismiss it, unless you're just 100% certain that there's a 0% chance that all these people could be right about this thing, all these people who are valuing it at $90,000 could potentially be, maybe there's a tiny less than 1% chance these people are right. Maybe I should look into it, unless you're just so sure and you have so much hubris and so little humility that you just couldn't possibly be wrong. Wouldn't it be worth just taking like an extra hour, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 hours to look into it and find out more? Bitcoin is kind of a humility test because it challenges a lot of your previously conceived notions of money, of value, of investment, of all these things, and your previously held beliefs. So the only other thing I'll leave it with is, for the people who say, oh, government's going to ban it, it's too risky, it's speculative, whatever, we now have 15 years of other people taking that risk for you, and that risk paying off for most of those people. So it's not like in 2012 or 15 or 17 or whatever you want to say, the risk was even greater. Now, with every day, week, year that goes by, and every piece of mainstream adoption, piece of sort of government regulatory clarity, institutional investment that comes in, all these things, especially over the past year or even just few months, each of those eliminates some degree of risk on these criticisms that people have of government's going to ban it or whatever. It's like, now that BlackRock and all these people are in, you think the government's still going to ban it. Clearly, that risk has been diminished, even if you don't think that risk is completely gone. So, are you willing to say, "Oh, I think government's going to ban it, or it's going to get hacked"? Well, what if you're wrong and the risk you choose to take is that you just never bother putting 10 minutes worth of study into it, and then 10 years down the road, you find out you were wrong? That's a risk in and of itself. People who want to just give this one sentence dismissal, take a few minutes to steelman your own argument. Like, Bitcoiners are fond of steelmanning the argument for Bitcoin. Like, steelmanning it meaning testing the theory of, is what I believe true? Like, go do the research and find out more. If you believe the opposite, that it has no value, steelman your own argument. Go find out, test that theory. Go find out why you think that's true and develop conviction in your argument. The other people online are always like, the other people I see are always like, oh, this has no value, this bubble's going to pop, whatever. Like, there are plenty of mechanisms to put your money where your mouth is and short the thing. Now there's literally options trading on the Bitcoin ETFs that you can actually just put your money where your mouth is and short it if you really believe that. But there's a funny little dynamic there where Bitcoiners tend to put their money where their mouth is because they have conviction. There's a saying that show me your positions, not your opinion. But the people who have a strong opinion against Bitcoin never seem to put their money where their mouth is directly and bet against it. They hold dollars, so they're indirectly betting against Bitcoin. But Bitcoiners tend to put their money where their mouth is. So people who have skin in the game and show their positions, not just their opinion, are the people whose opinions matter a little bit more, in my opinion. All right, go learn more about Bitcoin.